What does the Bible really say about rights and duties? Micah 6 verse 8, He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. This is one of the clearest biblical summaries of human duty, especially in relation to rights, justice, and moral responsibility. The verse does not begin by listing what we are entitled to, but rather what is required of us. This framing is powerful because it teaches that rights flourish only when duties are honored. To act justly speaks directly to the right of others to fairness. In everyday life, this means refusing to cheat, exploit, or manipulate systems for personal gain. Whether in business, school, governance, or family life, justice demands that we treat people fairly even when we could get away with doing otherwise. Many conflicts today arise when individuals demand rights, but neglect their duty to act justly toward others. To love mercy goes beyond strict justice. Mercy acknowledges that while people have responsibilities, they are also imperfect. In daily interactions, relationships, workplaces, friendships, mercy means choosing compassion over punishment, understanding over revenge. It reminds us that while people have the right to accountability, they also deserve grace. To walk humbly with your God addresses the duty of self-awareness and restraint. Humility prevents us from abusing power, authority, or privilege. A person who walks humbly understands that rights are not tools for domination, but protections meant to preserve dignity for all. In practical terms, Micah 6 verse 8 teaches that our rights never excuse injustice, our authority never removes compassion, and our freedom never eliminates accountability. A society that ignores this balance collapses into entitlement and conflict. But when individuals embrace these duties, rights become meaningful, respected, and sustainable. Matthew 7 verse 12. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. The Golden Rule. This establishes one of the most practical foundations for understanding rights and duties. Instead of listing legal entitlements, Jesus introduces a principle of reciprocal responsibility. The verse teaches that our duty toward others should be guided by how we expect our own rights to be respected. People are quick to demand fairness, respect, privacy, and dignity. However, let's ask a deeper question. Do I extend the same respect I demand? Rights become hollow when they are claimed without consideration for others. Jesus shifts the focus from what do I deserve to how should I treat people? This principle affects how managers treat employees and how employees relate to colleagues. If you expect fair pay, fair evaluation, and respect, then you have a duty to work honestly, communicate respectfully, and avoid undermining others. In families, children want to be heard and understood, while parents desire obedience and respect. The Golden Rule calls each party to balance expectations with responsibility. In issues like online behavior, public discourse, and community life, many people demand freedom of speech, but use that freedom to insult, harass, or dehumanize others. Jesus' teaching reminds us that freedom without responsibility becomes harmful. The right to speak must be matched with the duty to speak wisely and kindly. Hypocrisy should be discouraged. You cannot demand patience while being impatient, or demand honesty while cutting corners. When individuals live by this principle, societies become more just, not because laws increase, but because people voluntarily uphold one another's dignity. Rights are protected best when duties are practiced first. Galatians 6 verse 2. Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. The duty of mutual responsibility, especially in community life. While modern culture often emphasizes individual rights and personal independence, this verse reminds believers that life is not meant to be lived in isolation. Rights exist within relationships, and relationships require shared responsibility. Carry each other's burdens does not mean removing accountability or enabling irresponsibility. Rather, it means recognizing that people face seasons of difficulty, financial hardship, emotional stress, illness, grief, or failure. In such moments, individuals have the right to compassion, and others have the duty to offer support. This plays out in simple but powerful ways. Helping a struggling colleague instead of competing with them, supporting a friend through mental or emotional challenges, or assisting a family member during financial strain are all expressions of this duty. The verse challenges a mindset of everyone for themselves, which often leads to loneliness and inequality. People often believe they have the right to criticize without the responsibility to help. This verse flips that thinking. If you see a burden, your role is not to mock or condemn, but to assist. This principle supports social responsibility. While individuals have a right to opportunity, communities have a duty to create systems that do not abandon the vulnerable. Compassionate policies, fair support structures, and ethical leadership reflect this biblical value. The law of Christ mentioned here is rooted in love. Love does not erase rights, but ensures they are exercised with empathy. A society that ignores this duty becomes cold and fragmented. But when people carry one another's burdens, rights are no longer just legal concepts. They become lived realities. Luke 16, verse 10. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. The duty of integrity, especially in relation to responsibility and trust. Rights such as promotion, leadership, influence, and authority are not automatically granted. They are earned through faithful stewardship of small responsibilities. Trust is cumulative. People want the right to bigger opportunities, better jobs, leadership roles, financial growth, and social influence. However, Jesus emphasizes that rights expand in proportion to responsibility. If someone mishandles small tasks, it reveals a deeper issue of character. This means showing up on time at the workplace, being honest with reports, respecting company resources, and fulfilling basic duties. Many people feel entitled to advancement without demonstrating consistency. Luke 16, verse 10 reminds us that reliability is a moral duty, not just a professional skill. In personal life, this applies to finances, relationships, and commitments. Faithfulness in small promises, returning borrowed items, keeping your word, managing money wisely, reflects respect for others' rights. Dishonesty, even in minor matters, erodes trust and damages relationships. In leadership and governance, this principle is critical. Leaders who abuse small privileges often escalate to larger abuses of power. Citizens have the right to honest leadership, and leaders have the duty to act with integrity even when no one is watching. Rights are sustained by trust, and trust is built through daily faithfulness. When individuals honor their duties in small things, they become worthy of greater responsibility and greater rights. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 23. I have the right to do anything, you say, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. The tension between personal freedom and social responsibility. Paul acknowledges that people often claim their rights, but he challenges the idea that having a right automatically makes an action wise or beneficial. In modern culture, where freedom is often celebrated without restraint, people say, "It's my life, it's my choice," or "I have the right." While that may be true legally, Paul introduces a higher standard. Does this choice build others up or tear them down? Exercising a right without wisdom can cause harm. You may have the right to speak your mind, but words spoken without care can destroy trust. You may have the right to personal freedom, but choices made without consideration can damage families and communities. In content creation, marketing, and influence, just because something attracts attention or generates profit does not mean it is constructive. Ethical responsibility must guide freedom. Paul's teaching does not cancel rights, it disciplines them. Rights must be balanced by the duty to consider consequences. A mature person understands that self-control is not oppression. It is wisdom. True freedom is not doing everything you can, but choosing what is good. James 4, verse 17. If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them. The duty of moral responsibility, especially when knowledge is involved. Ignorance may limit responsibility, but awareness creates obligation. Knowing what is right gives rise to duty. Many people claim neutrality. It's not my problem, or I didn't cause it. James challenges this mindset. If you are aware of injustice, harm, or wrongdoing and choose inaction, you share responsibility. In workplaces where unethical practices are ignored, families where abuse is overlooked, and societies where corruption is normalized, silence when action is possible becomes a moral failure. If you know you should apologize, help someone speak the truth, or make correction. Failing to act damages integrity. Rights such as peace of conscience and moral credibility are sustained by obedience to what we know is right. Doing nothing is still a choice. Rights are not only violated by harmful actions, but also by neglected duties. A just society depends not only on laws, but on individuals who act when conscience demands it. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe for more.